Hey guys, Huzzy here bringing you another video. Now welcome back to Climb to Master. So we are playing Shen today and this is a POV commentary. Just very quickly to announce about POVs. We've got maybe 2 more episodes of POV commentaries after this game. There is a live Darius commentary as well thrown in the middle, I think, of there. But my next recording session that I'm streaming is tomorrow. And I'm going to, from now on, really try my best to just do live commentaries. I know the vast majority of you don't mind these POVs, and you actually sometimes learn more from them, because it's for a couple things. One, I can talk and explain things more educationally, because I'm not having to play while I'm, commentating. But secondly, it can take the emotion out of the game. And this is something that I want to talk about a lot in this episode, because something recently happened, and we're going to spend the first few minutes talking about it. Very quickly, though, there is the loading. So it's like Diamond, High Platinum. But what you're about to see, you can see on my profile there, it says Cold Streak. So yeah, we're going to spend the first couple minutes talking about what just recently happened to me on this account. And it made me question a lot of things. It made me question, do I stop playing on this account? Do I start the Smurf series? It was very rough. So if you guys don't know, if you just are a YouTube watcher, you don't come to the stream or you don't look at my profile on, any of the websites that you can look up profiles, I recently just went on a 13 game loss streak. It is, I believe, the longest loss streak I've ever had in League. And it was weird. So I'm not going to sit here and say I played perfectly every game. I think out of the 13 losses, I'd say about 3 or 4 of them I played pretty bad. But for 8 of them, roughly, played pretty good. Played fine. But a great example of what happened in a lot of these games, you're about to watch in this one. So if you actually pay attention to the minimap, look at the Kiana. Watch the Kiana right now on the map. Look what she's doing. Level 1 just directly is going to go run into the enemy tower, and what you're about to see, give first blood to the Renekton. You can't make this stuff up. So this was happening quite a lot. Whether it was like this, we had people literally inting and running it down. And by the way, this is still an episode. For some reason, the Kiana did that and then started playing the game. I've got no idea what happened. But you had that. You had people inting. I had people, like, in some games being the, rage quitting after they went, like, 1 and 8 in lane phase several times. I have no idea what happened. It was definitely the unluckiest streak I've ever personally had in League of Legends. It was just weird. My mental, and again, by the way, because it's early lane phase, we're just going to be farming against the Nasus. Hopefully you guys don't mind me talking about this, because I think it's important. A lot of people would kind of shy away from it and ignore it. I don't want to, because it's something that's never really happened to me before, but my mental of playing League was such in a negative space. And obviously on the YouTube channel, you guys haven't had it, because all those games, trust me, they were... We basically, yesterday on stream, we kind of, as the meme said, the day before, which was primarily most of the losses, that day didn't exist. We kind of are blanking that day out. So that day we're trying to ignore that it didn't happen, but it did. And a lot of YouTubers would just never talk about it, but I think it's important to. And what I came to realize is... it's okay to be human. I think a lot of the time when I'm playing League or when people are playing League, you become somewhat a robot and you just kind of ignore your emotions, and it's not a very healthy thing to do. So for primarily most of the games, you could tell I was frustrated, I was sad, but I kept playing. What happened at one stage is where I, as a player, as a person, as a human being, should have completely stopped playing. And, I'm not going to hide away from it, and I know people aren't going to like me saying it. People will call me a hypocrite. That's fine, sure. But I reached a point in one of the games, and I'm not kidding, and people go, really? I left the game. I wouldn't call it rage quitting. Like, I didn't rage. Again, raging isn't within me. But what happened was I was playing Gangplank. I was having a pretty decent game. I think I was 3 kills, 3 deaths. And my team was doing dreadfully, as it normally was happening. And... my jungler, for some reason, started spam pinging me after some play that just didn't go perfectly well. And then I just had enough. Like, I don't know if ever you've been in life situations that you just know, I'm at my limit right now. I could feel it. Like, it was probably seconds away from me literally getting my fist and slamming my desk. So I did my mental a favour and just left the game. So I'm not proud, by the way, in saying that, and I'm not going to hide away from it either. I could easily ignore that never happened, never mention it to the vast majority of my audience here on YouTube. But I'm going to say it because it was a learning experience for me. Completely. Like, it was humanizing, is that the right way to say? That I have always, like, 100% looked at people that left games, raged game, like, whatever, like, really badly. And I've been quite harsh to them. But I've never done it myself. Because I've never gone through it myself. And now that I've gone through it myself, you know, still quitting a game, it's terrible. Like, I hope my team reported me, by the way, because it was worth a report. I shouldn't have left the game. But I can safely say now, I can get it way more. So I'm, you know, that's the first time I believe I've ever quit a game of League like that. It's probably the last. But the next time that it happens, like in one of my games, that my ally rages or quits the game, like after being, like, again, that person's having a good game. We've got a raging teammate. They're getting spam picked and blamed for some reason. They just quit. I now can get it. You know, you're just at your limit. So I just wanted to point that out. I know that hasn't been, like, about Shen. So I know some people are like, oh, that's not on topic, Huz. I'm aware, but I wanted just to talk about it because I've never gone on a 13-loss game streak before. It felt awful, and it even probably felt more awful for me than a normal loss streak because I had hundreds of people watching me live going through it. It was horrible. But the lesson of it is when you know you're at your limit, stop playing. You know, it's fine, you know, and for me, I kept going because this is my job, and I was like, I need content, you know, that word, the C word, get that content. But I shouldn't have. I should have forced myself. I should have done a couple challenger spectates or something because your mental is so important, incredibly important, and value it very heavily. But I would say the whole experience has made me, I know it sounds cheesy, but it 100% has made me grow as a person. And I am, you know, it is worth knowing I'm in a much better place right now. Again, life at the moment's great. I'm actually in a very happy place. But yeah, losing 13 games in a row in a span of like 2.5 days was very rough. But other than that, things are great. Life's perfect. You know, it's always better to try and focus on the positive than the negative. So yeah, sorry, by the way, of that tangent. I know some people might have tuned out of me talking about all of that, but clearly nothing has happened in the early lane phase that's been that important. And that's why I chose to do it this game. And, you know, by the way, this game is an interesting game. So we are now going to start specifically talking about this game. So our comp is a pretty good comp. So we've got a well-balanced team comp. I'm going to go for an ultimate play. Use my ult. I do get a nice taunt on the Warwick and the Leona, but it wasn't enough to save her life just yet. Kassadin doing a pretty good job. Yes, the enemy team, by the way, has Renekton mid. Getting a nice Q, just trying to balance the enemy team out, taking the Leona E, walking up, helping my Kassadin getting a kill. I take the kill on Leona. Draven flashes a little bit too deep. Aphelios gets the kill on Warwick. I'm going to go for it. And specifically, you notice I didn't auto-attack to finish the kill. Gave it to the Kassadin. So overall, really nice teleport play. That's what Shen is all about. If you guys watched my episode that I believe it would have been last night on Olaf top lane, we watched a good Olaf top, and I was explaining how would you do well as a top laner right now, and it's get involved. You can't really... Well, you can, but like the meta right now is strong individual top laners. Meanwhile, going to go for a taunt on this Nasus. And notice, by the way, look at the damage. Oh my god, that was crazy. Yes, probably a majority of that damage came from the tower, because if you look at the Nasus's build, incredibly squishy build. He rushed a Shen, which I actually think is... I don't think it's needed. Like cooldown reduction rush may be better, because then you can get the most stacks as Nasus. I was just looking to see if he was just waiting in a bush, maybe get a cheeky taunt, stop his base, but nothing came of it. But I find top laners right now, you need to make an impact, so you pick something that is good in the 1v1, but also is great in team fighting and grouping and making plays, and that's why I have been playing quite a lot of Shen. Shen's that weird pick that I both recommend and not recommend at the same time, and I know that doesn't make sense, because on the one hand, he's actually pretty good at 1v1ing. If you watch a decent Shen, someone that's better than me, if you watch a decent Shen, they are brilliant at killing people. Like, by themselves. They're like, dude, you just murdered a Darius as a Shen. Meanwhile, I am getting ganked. Now, worth noting, these two are duo Q, the Warwick and the Nasus. And I'm not just saying it, again, I hope people know, I don't just say these things for, like, no reason. There isn't much point Warwick coming top. we've currently got a 4-0 Aphelios who just killed the enemy Draven again. Nasus, yes, is a monster in scaling, but the enemy team, I would say, is on a ticking time bomb this game. You know, look at their comp. They are full AD. They have a Renekton mid who is going to completely fall off. They have a Draven who falls off, especially compared to an Aphelios, if he gets another solo kill. Aphelios, by the way. They are on a ticking time bomb. So, the Warwick, yes, his duo partner is the top laner, but should 100% not be ganking the lane for the person that already scales okay. For the enemy team to solidly win this game, they need to snowball the person that can carry the early and win the game for the enemy team early. Otherwise, we're going to build too much armor and all that stuff's just going to happen. So where should Warwick be going? Arguably, mid lane, obviously, is a Renekton, or really probably bot lane. And he's not. So he did go mid lane then, but again, it was a play after. So that's what I would say. Again, be smart about your ganks. Again, I'm not calling top and jungle a bad duo queue of like, oh, a jungler should just never gank top. You can gank top, but I'd say specifically this game, it just doesn't make much sense. Can a Nasus carry a game solo against our comp? Not really, because we're just going to build armor. And yeah, Nasus does a bit of magic damage, but it is predominantly AD, especially he's going the Conqueror build this game. So this game, I do think it's a lot more worth for Warwick to get involved with the more early game champions like the Draven instead. And let's be honest, the Nasus, as a Shen, I can hold a Nasus for the time being, but I can't stop him farming. He's going to keep farming, and that's all Nasus really should care about, you know, in essence. But it is worth noting this Nasus's playstyle and build was actually about killing. It was actually very weird to see. You'll notice he doesn't have teleport, which I think is a pretty big mistake. Doesn't have teleport and is running Conqueror on Nasus. Not Grasp the Undying, is running Conqueror Ghost Nasus. And so he is actually looking for kills. He's looking to be aggressive, which, again, like, you don't see it. Like, I will say it's a bit of fresh breath of fresh air that we've got a Nasus that isn't just about, I'm just going to press Q, Q, Q. It's cool, I guess, but it's a bit odd. There is what you probably maybe say a reason for why that is the common. So I am going to go for a teleport play. Getting a nice, again, double taunt, but don't hit the Draven. With the Kassadin coming in on the backline too. Draven in now could be in trouble. I'm going to continue. I flashed to get my Q through, by the way, because the Q does slow. And we do get a nice double kill, shut down for the Kassadin there. So this game is like a weird dynamic. It's like we're having an okay game of Shen, but we are losing so much advantage, or pretty much we're losing just a lot to the Nasus. We're giving him a free lane. And, you know, there's nothing, by the way, the Nasus can do about this because, one, again, he doesn't have teleport, so he can't follow me. Secondly, you know, he's not... Nasus isn't even if he did take teleport, he wouldn't want to follow me because he just wants to scale. He wants those stacks. He wants the tower plates. Which is good. Furthermore, obviously this actual, how the Shen versus Nasus matchup goes, by the way, it's, again, you're going to watch how it goes this game. This is pretty much standard, is that, yeah, a Shen can do well globally, but a Nasus will do well in the 1v1 because he's gaining such an advantage when Shen's going to go roam. But you have to also remember, Nasus cannot stop Shen'll. He's got no tool to stop it. So he could be wailing on me, like when I'm ulting away. Unless he kills me, I'm not dead. Meanwhile, we're having a Thresh roam. Nice hook. I go for a taunt, doing a bit of damage. Doing it, you know, pretty good actually. He does, it looked like that he might have ghosted and flashed away. Again, I wasn't 100% if he ghosted or not. It just looked like he might have. But now we're going to do some plate damage. Unfortunately, the Aphelios dies in a 1v2. I think the Kiana was around to help, but wasn't just quite close enough. So yeah, he died. I think that was the second death from Aphelios that he's by himself. So he just has to be careful with his positioning, especially when his support's not with him, for example. And remember, your support's not always going to be with you in bot lane. You've got to play and adjust to what you're doing. You can't always play like, oh, my support's with me, and your support's in top lane. It's like, okay. So the game so far, it's going what I'd say is fine. Again, in the back of your mind, always, when you're playing solo queue, always, you should be thinking about what is the win condition of this game, how do we win it, you know, what's the negative of our comp, what's the positive of their comp. So let's just kind of break it down, I guess. Positive like for us getting a victory, we arguably scale better, even though they have a Nasus, because we have a mixed team comp. So we've got mixed damage. We've got both AD and AP. Going to go for a taunt on the old Nasus here, looking for some tower damage, which is nice. Again, not bad at all. So we've got mixed damage. Never mind, I'm getting dove. So again, good damage, but then the Warwick, again, the duo partner comes up. And again, like we said earlier, they really shouldn't be doing this because I literally, look what's happening. Every time that Warwick's come top lane, my bot lane has killed the enemy bot lane. Like, Warwick needs to be down there, but he's not. So yes, it's annoying for me as a Shen, but in the back of your mind, again, this is what you have to keep positive and think is, we scale better, we've got a mixed team comp, we've got a Casa win versus a Renekton, they've got a Nasus that, yes, by the way, you can tell what this Nasus is going to do the whole game. It's not, you know, you don't have to be psychic. The dude is going to only split push. If he was looking to maybe get involved, that's when maybe he'd take teleport so he can go side lane, Shen ultimates away, he can follow. He's gone ghost. He is about split pushing only, because like the ghost is either to go aggressive in the 1v1 or it's to run away. So like to run away when he's split pushing. So 100% you know this Nasus is just going to stay top lane, and the negative of playing Shen is obviously he's good at 1v1s but not as good as a Nasus. There is going to be a point that, let's say he is continuing to push and he is near my inhibitor, right? Say he's near the inhibitor turret. A team fight is breaking out, a 4v4. What do you do as a Shen? Do you ult your teammate, or do you stay and protect the inhibitor tower? It's such a dilemma. But again, like looping back to what we were talking about, meanwhile, Aphelios gets caught out, and unfortunately for me, he moves away a little bit too far. But again, now watch his positioning. Very bad positioning. So he goes way too deep. I'm trying to just, by the way, be in the front, but the enemy team ignores me. They flash on top of him. We are doing a decent amount of damage here or there, but no Kassadin. If Kassadin was there, he might have killed like 3 people. But yeah, that was really unfortunate Aphelios positioning. We got him, we ulted him, the Thresh got him out, and then for some reason, he walked in. Now, just to explain, by the way, my FFs, again, this, by the way, was part of the lost streak. But this, of me playing this Shen game, the lost streak wasn't over. 13 losses was not over. So my mental, we spoke about it earlier, was not in a good place. 100% just wasn't. So yes, I am in a slight negative mood, 100%. Always, by the way, you know, trying to win games for the most part. But again, I think anybody who is on a 13-game loss streak is going to have their mental affected somewhat. Especially if it's your job and you know you've got a few 100 people watching, you're like, just get me in the next game, maybe we'll win the next game instead, when you have like a negative thing happen. But obviously, do remember, surrender votes aren't great, but again, your team says no, as long as the person who says the surrender vote, for example, this one was me, as long as that person is still trying to win, then it's not a big deal. Meanwhile, the Draven, by the way, getting caught, he stayed in bot lane by himself for too long, and I think he will end up dead. But again, look at the Draven damage. That is a 1v3, and he nearly, by the way, killed the Aphelios. Draven does a lot of damage, always has. So again, apologies for the slight negative, oh, Huzzy, you did an FF, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, it's going to happen right now. I do go for an early teleport right now because I'm just like not wanting the enemy team any chance to steal. I miss my teleport, taunt, but I do put my W down. Unfortunately, the Kiana dies, and I will take responsibility that I killed her because I missed the taunt. But it is worth noting, and some people learn in the Twitch chat, Warwick's ultimate actually counts as auto attacks. So my W, if you don't know what Shen W is, when he presses W around his sword that you can see is attached to him, it creates a field that if you are on, you cannot get auto attacked. So in that instance, when Kiana was getting Warwick ulted, you saw that no damage was happening to Kiana by the Warwick because my W was blocking the Warwick ultimate's damage. So it is worth knowing. You learn something new every day. So we're going to go for a Rift Herald. At this point, again, watching this game back, I will say as a player, I can clearly see, I know I'm not playing very well in this game so far. Like, I'd say I'm playing, if 100% you're playing perfectly, 0% you're obviously bad, playing terribly. I'd probably give myself a 35-40% so far this game. We've done some good things, we've done some good ults, but it's the little things that even I'm watching myself back here that just doesn't make sense. For example, why did I stay for the whole Rift Herald then? There was no point. I should have gone back earlier, get to the bottom tower maybe a bit earlier, who knows. I think it's just like, again, clearly not thinking completely straight. Again, I understand why I wasn't, but yeah, again, it's always good to criticize yourself. And by the way, I do. I know there's a group of people out there that think I don't. I do. I'm my own biggest critic. But just because I don't do it on camera in videos doesn't mean I don't do it. I run by the philosophy as a YouTuber not to heavily criticize yourself on videos, because that's just a negative in yourself constantly. I do it out of my videos. I pretty much watch all my videos back, once. When I'm editing it, I watch it through, generally on 2x speed. So I do know what I'm doing wrong all the time. And yeah, I know I've got some big flaws. Every person does. My one is, I know I do complain about teammates quite a bit. In a weird way, I'd say it's a coping mechanism, if that makes sense. A coping mechanism a little bit for just dealing with the craziness that goes on in solo queue. Unfortunately, Aphelios getting caught out again, you can see my mental, like, come on, dude, this is going crazy. And again, from a point that he was doing really well. You know, they were winning lane, but now, because he's getting caught several times in a row, the enemy team is making a big comeback. So, yeah. So, again, we're speaking about it all earlier. This Shen game, for example, continue watching it. It ends up being a pretty interesting game. Again, good lessons being told. Nasus actually misses his Q, but then she just chunks the Kiana. Going to try and survive as much as we can. Good thingy by Thresh, going for the slow. Leona going to try and avoid it. Warwick coming for me. He does smite me, and we do end up dead. So the game now is looking pretty bad. Again, another surrender vote by me. I didn't actually think I could do it that early. Nice flay, by the way, by the Thresh. Does get up the kill. Kassadin is in the area. Now, what I should be doing, and by the way, if I was in a mind frame that I wasn't on a 13-game loss streak here, I can bet you right now what I'd be saying is, okay, don't worry about it. We just need to stop kind of going in and dying by ourselves, reset, because remember, like we were saying earlier, you can't forget about the comps and how the game works. So our comp, meanwhile, a aggressive Renekton play. By the way, Aphelios did have his flash. He could have flashed a bit earlier. Draven flashed there. I don't think he got anything, which is good. But you can't ignore how comps work. So again, in essence, this game, we do scale better. You can't ignore that. They are full AD. You build a lot of armor. You build survivability. Your Aphelios doesn't go as the front line, and there is definitely a way of winning this game, and it isn't even that hard to win this game. But again, I guess that the philosophy of that is, if you're not in a negative mindset, me trying to surrender and stuff, which isn't good. But yeah, you're not going to win a game that you just surrender. I know, by the way, there are some people's philosophies out there that's like, never surrender a ranked game. I don't think you can go that far. For example, let's say this game, I was on the enemy team. Good dodge by Aphelios. I don't think it's enough, though, to survive. He's now getting caught once again. So he's really got to stop doing that. Like, that's like 2 or 3 deaths now that he's like way too deep. He's the enemy, he's the AD carry. He needs to stop doing that. He just needs to be a bit more proactive in positioning and like safer. I guess that's the way to say it. But yeah, when you're in a positive, going back to, there are some people that never surrender ranked games. If you are on the enemy team this game, you're on the team, you're the Draven in this game, and you're a full AD team comp. But what happens if you get behind early? There isn't a way of winning the game, really. Like, if people build armor, you're already getting behind in the early game. Yeah, like, the game is practically over at that point. So, I would never be in the camp that never surrender ranked games. But I do reckon there's a lot of ranked games out there that people surrender that are winnable. We've seen them ourselves. Again, this game might be a little bit one of those. If the surrender vote, let's say the ones that I've done so far this game, if they were voted yes, well then it's just straight up a loss, obviously. Keep watching, ladies and gentlemen. So yeah, item build, by the way, worth noting. Thornmail first. I thought Thornmail was just relatively effective against the enemy team comp, so Nasus actually heals a fair amount. He's also got Conqueror. Draven obviously heals. You should have a Bloodthirst, I'd imagine. Warwick heals quite a lot with his passive. So I was like, okay, Thornmail just makes sense against the enemy comp this game. Renekton as well heals for quite a lot. So yeah, most of the enemy team is full AD and heals. So Thornmail, very effective item. Next, I don't know. Do I go for maybe a Sunfire might ring a bell? Possibly. But I do, by the way, want to start side laning quite a bit, because side laning will give me strength. And I never can kill a Nasus in a 1v1. Hell, I don't. I think he'll just kill me, even if I have full AD. Yes, it will probably take him a long time to do it, but Nasus has unlimited scaling and all that. So I constantly have to be kind of worried about the Nasus pressure, but I can be somewhat aggressive. Remember, if he takes 1,000,000 years to kill me, I can just teleport away or ultimate away, and I don't think he will kill me quick enough that while I'm teleporting away or I'm ulting away, he can't... I don't think he can kill me during my ultimate. So I do have that, I guess, safety net to have, which is good. That's something at least, right? So I'm going to, again, just go back to bot lane. Nasus was down there split pushing. You know, the game at the moment is nearing 25 minutes. The kills is kind of close. The enemy team obviously has just been, you know, they've been made to be a bit closer because of just some basic mistakes. Again, if you just curb those mistakes, we're doing fine. You know, that's the way that you've got to try and think of it. You know, we're doing okay as long as the positioning is good. Now, I should just stay bot lane right now. Again, good. I was just saying, thinking to myself, am I going to do the right thing? Yes, I am. So stay bot lane, continue pushing, try to build up a little bit or catch up in farm. Obviously, we're massively down to the 1v1 of the Nasus because of me ulting away in the early game. Plays eventually on, I decide to go for an early-ish ultimate because I'm like, let's go for an early-ish ultimate just to get in the fight. Unfortunately, once again, the Aphelios mispositions, so he gets caught by a Warwick ultimate, and we do end up dying. Another surrender vote by me. I think, again, was I tilted at this point? Yes, I'm not going to hide away from that fact. But the Aphelios' positioning, and again, I do obviously take personal blame that I'm not playing very well. But watching the Aphelios, even in this replay, I'm in a clear and calm mind right now. There's no emotion in this replay like I probably would have had playing the game. Like, I don't think anybody watching this replay can kind of go, you know, oh God, his positioning. Like, I think all of us would be kind of going, what is he doing? He just needs to play way further back than he is. Like, I don't know why. He's playing like he's a bruiser. He needs to play like an AD carry and just be so far back that he's behind the Thresh, behind everybody, but instead he's in front of them a lot of the time. Like that fight you just saw there, he was over to the right when I was ulting him to a Renekton, when a whole fight was happening to the left of him, and he was like on the enemy's territory. Gotta be really careful about that, man. Like, really careful. So, again, what I'd say about these POV commentaries, which is good, hopefully you guys agree, is... guarantee, again, one of my personal weaknesses in this game. I can see myself, by the way, on camera. This game was streamed. I'm not really talking much. When I get angry or when I'm sad, I get very quiet. Everybody's different, you know. You get angry people that scream and shout. I go the opposite. I get very quiet when I'm kind of angry and sad. So I was hardly talking. That's why this is not a live commentary, by the way. So I was hardly talking, but yeah, it wouldn't have been good. But POV commentaries, I rate them because it shows you the struggle. You're seeing my point of view. You're seeing my mouse movements. You're seeing my mistakes when I miss a taunt because my mouse was just in the wrong position. But I'm not emotionally invested into it. You know, right? Like, I'm not playing the game right now, so I'm not like arg. You know, I'm not like completely just reacting about it right now. I'm clear-headed. You know, it's not as raw, I'd say. So right now, if you're wondering what my mindset is right here, so again, you can clearly want just to say, I'm still trying to win this game. Even though I've tried to surrender, my mind is still in it because, watch the play in a second. So I remember this, taunt, boom, flash on the Draven, big play happening, double Kiana ultimate, there's one kill, get the shutdown on Draven myself. You can see Aphelios' positioning this time, he went out the right at the back of the team fight so he doesn't die. We get another kill now on him, get the taunt on the Warwick, and boom, there we go. Really nice play. So even though this, hopefully that shows you guys, even though you can clearly see this game, my mind was not in a very good place. Huzzy's trying to surrender, Jesus, yeah, but I'm still trying to win the game. That's why when we spoke about it earlier, I haven't left a game of League of Legends. Actually that's a lie. I've not purposely left a game of League of Legends in 10 years of playing, you know, 8 years, 9 years, whatever playing. I have left games, 2. I actually do remember them. Both involved car accidents with my family. So I think most people would give me a pass on those. But yeah, I left 2. One was when my dad had a car crash and the car was actually totaled, unfortunately. And the second one, my sister was nearly involved in a car crash, but I was told, get to your sister, she's a bit shaken up. So I guess those count too. And again, hopefully I got reported by my team for those. You know, it is against the terms of service. You're not going to get banned or even there's not going to be a single punishment for leaving one game, because yes, even Riot thinks that we're all human, but it's just something that I don't think I'll ever do again. But clearly, if I gave up this game, I would have just left. The Gangplank game that I did end up leaving, that was my mental going boom, and that was in a game that I was actually having a good game, let alone this game that I'm having a bit of an iffy game. So again, just a weird place to be mentally. But I would say the cool thing, and you know, I don't mean to keep going on about it, but again, I do find it's important to embrace it rather than hide away from it, is I have come out of the tunnel of darkness and I feel better, like, in a weird way. Like, I've learned a bit about myself. What are my limits as a person? Because I without going into it, I've gone through some weird stuff in my life with my family and everything in the past, but I've never really had a limit of, like, breaking. I know it sounds sad, but that situation the last few days, 13-game loss streak with people watching and trying to get content, yeah, that was nearly my limit, and I've gone through way worse things in life, and so it's a bit weird. Now, ladies and gentlemen, like, if this game wasn't enough, you know, headache from me, yeah, the Qiyana's AFK. You can't make this stuff up. You cannot make it up. So yes, she ran it down at level 1. She gave a free kill for the Renekton, which, by the way, would have heavily affected the Kassadin in lane, because, you know, Kassadin outscales a Renekton, but Renekton got a free kill, so she's made the game harder but for the Kassadin, and that's annoying. And now she's legitimately AFK. Now, from memory, I will, you know, spoil it. She does come back, like, right now, but, like, why was she just randomly AFK for, like, a minute or two? No idea. So, again, a bit of a tilting game, tilting situation. Good hook by Thresh. Qiyana ultimate comes through a bit early, but it's fine. They do get it. Remember, the later the game goes on, the more you should value killing one person. Even if it's the support, by the way. Even if it's the support. Maybe don't blow every single ultimate to kill them, but heavily value killing one person. So we're going to go for the Renekton, go for the taunt. You notice in bot lane on the minimap, by the way, there is a Nasus that, yes, is just staying bot lane. So it's a frustrating thing. I think even in this game, and, you know, while things look positive, you could probably hear my mood improving. It happens. And it was that kind of like, yay, we're doing good things. And, oh, for God's sake, Nasus is still bot. It's annoying, but it's his playstyle. Again, you can't blame the player. That's the champion in the end of the day. Now, I'm going to look for helping, so I go for the ultimate here on Aphelios. Unfortunately, annoyingly, he runs away too much. So if he should have tried to stay closer to the Warwick, and that would have allowed me to get the taunt in, but he really runs too far away. You should have kept with him as I was ulting. And here we go, once again, Nasus continuing his bot lane tirade. Get a taunt on him, alongside, I think I'm with the Kassadin. We do end up killing him. But yeah, so remember, everybody, by comp, we have a better comp, but the enemy team built a decent, I don't know, would you even call it a lead? I guess, like, they were doing fine. They did, you know, they got towers, they've got the split push potential, but little things were going well. Like, I'm happy with myself in some ways that, yes, I was in a bad mind space this game, but again, that play in bot lane that we killed 3 or whatever of them of my flash taunt on the Draven, that was really good, and that gets us back in the game, and we've spoken about it many a time. There is such thing called momentum. Momentum in League of Legends is really important. Now, I was, by the way, a little bit questioning this Baron, if I'm honest. I wasn't there. I don't have any teleports. The enemy team looking to come and do something, but the strength level is not bad for my team. Qiyana ultimate was questionable. I get what she was trying to do, but ladies and gentlemen, we all know his name is Castlewin. So there is champions in League, you know, scaling and all that good stuff. There are some champions in League that, when they get to a certain point, they are crazy. And they're not sometimes even that hard to play. Kassadin, I'd say, is a great example of that. He's not the easiest champion to lane on because he can just get bullied out. But give him 2 or 3 completed items, and the dude's a monster. When you start stacking your ultimate, when you've got a lot of mana that allows you to do that, he just kills everything. And yeah, this Kassadin now, by the way, is 10-2. And that's why I do, by the way, like, I can't remember who I honoured, but maybe I honoured him. Because you can't ignore the fact, again, the Qiyana gave the Renekton a free kill. Renekton's an early game champion, Kassadin is a late game scaling champion. Meanwhile, the Nasus, again, I'd say somewhat the Nasus has fallen off in his playstyle. Like, he's only been alone this game. He hasn't got enough to warrant the split push. He was then trying to do Dragon alone. We group, we kill him. So that's the negative of split pushing right there. Only split pushing is that when you're alone and your team dies a few times, you're in a weird way putting your team behind. And that's why I'd say Nasus for a split pushing champion is kind of meh. Meanwhile, Renekton potentially getting caught, does get caught in the end. Now they're going to go on the Warwick, and what we have here, we spoke about it, is momentum. I can't even get a kill or an assist. So momentum, again, really important. This game, you know, it's even weirdly, well, Momentum in this game shows a lot more because we've got a better team comp. So let's say you've got a worse team comp, but you start getting momentum in the game, you can end up winning, but you could just get stopped when the enemy team reaches a certain point. Oh, their mages have scaled and we have no magic resist or whatever. In a game, though, that you have a better comp, I do another flash taunt on the Draven. In a game that you've got a better comp than the enemy team, with momentum, there's nothing the enemy team can do. Like, they're just dead. Anyway, I ult the Aphelios as the game is ending. And yeah, ladies and gentlemen, this was the end of the 13-game loss streak. So I wanted to show this because I wanted to talk about it. Because again, I was going to do maybe a league discussion about it, but I thought this game was a good one. Because this game highlighted... you're going to be sometimes in a negative mind space. You can see the Twitch chat is going crazy because they knew how important it was for me to get off the loss streak. So thank you, by the way, if you have been in the Twitch chat for the last couple of days. Like, a lot of people were being really, really, really supportive. So thank you for that. Yeah, so this game was highlighting negative mind spaces happen. You know, I wanted to talk about it. I didn't want to hide away from it. But also, this game highlighted good team play when it came to a comp. Our comp outscaled the enemy team. Now, what surprised me, by the way, is I gained 21 LP. 21 LP gain after a 13-game loss streak is kind of insane. Damage-wise, we actually don't do that bad damage, which is fine. You can see clearly the Aphelios and the Kassadin do great. But, yeah, so 21 LP after 13 games isn't that bad. It's actually not, you know, it's actually pretty good. So our MMR, worth noting, is still actually in a pretty good place, weirdly. But that's going to be that. Again, hopefully you guys enjoyed. If you did, I do throw a report on the thing because she did AFK at one stage and she did int at level 1. If you guys did enjoy, throw a like on it. Again, I might not really mention the loss streak anymore. I think, you know, this game, we've mentioned it, we talk about it. We're now going to just move forward and continue doing what we do. So throw a like on the video if you guys enjoyed. Again, yes, I am human, and sometimes people have said to me, how haven't you left a game, or how haven't you raged at someone who's clearly trying to get to you and troll you? I normally don't, but recently it got a bit too difficult with how many losses that we had. But we got through it. I'm at the light at the end of the tunnel. We're through the tunnel, and yeah, I feel good. So hopefully you guys enjoyed. If you did, throw a like on it, throw a subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.